Lord Mayor, Roger, Your Excellencies, I was told that I had 5 minutes, and then Roger, who I presume had been taking some powder a while, said, no, just go on for as long as you like. I mean, to say that to a bishop is just insane. May I say to you, never do that. I hate to contradict the Lord Mayor in his own house, but on the, just for the record, because it's rather like it being known that the Archbishop is against sin and that kind of thing. Actually, God and mammon are not mixable. And that's on the authority of Jesus Christ, who said you can't serve God and mammon. God and the city, by contrast, I think are eminently mixable. So if you'll just excuse me having made that slight distinction, because otherwise I'll get into trouble with someone. Let me start by saying that faith is not a fading inconvenience. Quite the contrary. It is a powerful and increasingly influential global reality. Last Thursday we had a very large number of major faith leaders in this country at Lambeth Palace, and the mixture of people, the impact on communities across the country, from Manchester right down to Cornwall, was absolutely extraordinary. The faith groups are holding many communities together. If you go to Southall, you will see the most extraordinary influence of faith groups there, and it is profoundly inspiring. Faith is not a fading inconvenience which is there to get in the way of the otherwise enjoyable business of making money. The City of London is also, and sometimes faith leaders need to remember that, is also not a fading inconvenience. It is in fact, and remains, and long may it remain, the key global centre for international finance, trade, commerce, and with enormous potential for good in the world, the most heavyweight part of our country internationally. And that is simply a fact. In many ways, the last 30 or 40 years have seen the city at its most international in its history, and with most impact on most people. But as we know, the last 5 years have seen a significant need to re-evaluate what it's there for. What are the values underpinning financial institutions? How do they serve communities? How do they play their part in the global community as well as the national one? And therefore, I'm very excited and privileged and grateful to the Lord Mayor to be invited to be here and to be able to engage with him as he engages with issues of faith as the City of London does. And we are seeing very significant changes in culture, in ambition, in the vision for what the city is able to achieve. Again, both nationally and internationally. But that leaves us with a great challenge, because in the city we have the greatest diversity on earth now. Diversity of experience, of faith, of culture, of nationality in a way that we've never seen before. And we need to match that with an equivalent sophistication in engaging with religion, in developing a value system or a series of value systems that enable the city to achieve all it can, both financially but also in terms of its contribution globally. And there is a huge challenge for faith leaders and faith communities. As we are more and more mixed together, we need to sharpen each other up. The book of Proverbs says in chapter 27, iron sharpens iron. And as I said last week, I will be the best dialogue partner with other faith communities when I'm the most passionate about my service to Jesus Christ, and they will be the best dialogue partners when they are most passionate about their faith. And it is from that iron sharpening iron that we can bring our particular gifts to the development of the value systems in the city and the development of the new culture which is emerging rapidly. At a conference I was at earlier today, which Archbishop Vincent Nichols had convened, the Archbishop of Westminster had convened, one of the comments made at one point is, we are not going back to where we were, not in the foreseeable future. Something dramatic has changed, and something new is being born. If we are going to have this dialogue, if there's going to be joint working for a place of confidence, it has to happen at a local level, and it has to happen at the kind of level we have in the city. At the local level, there are some amazing projects. There's a very major national project called Near Neighbours, which the government has been funding, which the Church of England and other churches are involved in, which is enabling dialogue between faith communities across the country. And as I say, places like Gledhill doing very, very remarkable work indeed, with faith leaders holding fervently to what they believe, coming together for the common good. This evening, part of what we're talking about is the potential for Coexist House, a dream of David Ford, I think it's fair to say. It started in his ever-fertile and imaginative mind, the Regius Professor of Divinity at the University of Cambridge, one of the world's great philosophers and theologians, of a place in the city which would enable faiths to communicate, to meet, to understand each other, to be excited by each other, and that would be a meeting place for different values within this area. And I want to welcome those ideas very strongly indeed, because it has the potential, because of the global reach of this place, to show at least one way forward, both at a national and certainly at an international level. So, thank you, Lord Mayor, for your support for the beginning of this project, for the beginnings of the work on feasibility studies, on working out how it may turn out in practice. And I hope very much that it will continue and develop as a centre for interaction between faith groups and as a home and heart for the creation of a new value system in the City of London. Thank you very much indeed.